Okay, we are live at 5. Well, live at 10:30. So good morning. Welcome to MacBean's Scottish Fitness. Our subject today, throughout the whole series, will be by year 2025, will women's sports have any relevance? And I say this because I was seeing some posts on Twitter that there was a bill put forth to protect women's sports from the inclusion of men. Okay, regardless how you feel about any of this, there is no fairness or reason for a man, I don't care how they identify themselves, to be competing in a women's sports field, let alone being allowed into the locker room. That is ridiculous. It defies common sense. All right. So at some point, we have to say no. So if they do want to have their own category, make their own category. Just like before, it was all men's sports, and then they started doing women's sports. Well, if you want to do I pretend I'm somebody, then do a pretend I'm somebody's sports and go that way. But I found it just unbelievable that there could be people out there that say, yeah, it's okay for a man to at some point say, oh, I really identify as a woman, and then go and compete against them, let alone be allowed in their own locker room. And this has caused many issues. Some have easy solutions. So when they say about the bathrooms, if I decide that I'm not a woman, they're saying I should be able to go in the women's bathroom. No, that's not right. It's not natural. It's wrong. All right, but what you can do is you can make them single use. So instead of having a boys with 5 stalls and 4 urinals and 2 sinks, and a girls with 6 stalls and 3 sinks, you can have 10 single serves, which have both. Then they can lock the door. They can go in there. They can lock the door. They are private, secured, and probably even feel better because I remember when I was younger, I didn't like the locker room sometimes. And, you're a freshman in high school and you're half the size of the seniors. It could be kind of intimidating. But when it comes to the locker room where you need to change in that, if you can't do the single ones, then if you are a male, you go to a male one. If you are a female, you go to a female one. And if they need to put a question mark one in there, that's fine. But at no way are you going to sit there and come into my daughter's locker room as a man. I'm not going to allow it. It ain't happening. It really should not even be a discussion. The fact that it's a discussion just tells me how warped our society has become. Because if you think it's okay for this, so you start looking at some of these interviews. So the one English guy, can't think of his name, but he's you can tell over the years he's kind of changed. He's kind of come more conservative. He used to be very, I know he had one with Ted Nugent where, Nugent owned him. English guy, someone come up with his name. But anyway, that's fine. So if there's a football team where they have a woman playing quarterback, all right, pretty sure it's on a high school team. She's not going to go pro. Not in a man's field. She would get destroyed. And I guarantee you, or as a center, that's fine. But as the males get older and bigger, she's going to get destroyed. Absolutely. All right. I tried to explain this to a girl in college one time about the difference between a male and a female. Now, is there going to be some females that are extremely strong and athletic? versus the average male? Yes. But she's not going to be able to compete against an extremely strong and athletic male at the same level. It's not going to happen. When I was in college, there was a girl that hung around with us, and she thought she was strong, and she was always wanting to arm wrestle me. And I told her, "You really don't want to. I'm a really strong guy." She goes, "Well, Chucky, he arm wrestled me and I beat him." I said, "Well," so there's a couple differences between Chuck and I. Chuck is not an athlete. Says he also has a crush on you. So I'm pretty sure he'd probably let you win. I'm neither. Well, she wouldn't give it up, so we arm wrestled. And she's grunting. And I finally just went, bam! She's like, ow. Well, ow. All right. Just letting you understand there's a world of difference between us. All right. So, yes. Are there sometimes you have women who go out for wrestling and all they have is a boys' team? Yep, sure do. Nothing wrong with that. But when you have a women's sport, in high school, our volleyball team went to state. The girls' volleyball team went to state. Did very well. I can't remember if they won it or not, but they did extremely well. Bunch of us guys got together and we played them and we destroyed them. They didn't stand a chance. We were taller, we were stronger, we were faster, we get hit harder. It wasn't an even field. Women's professional soccer teams got beat by high school teams. All right. Even your professional tennis players, don't stand a chance against a guy who's ranked alongside it. It's just not right. They should have their own category. That was the whole idea of doing a women's sport. So they could be in their own category. You have a swimmer that was ranked in the 400s and decides, I transitioned. Now I'm ranked number 1. Bullshit. I hate to rant on this, but it's bullshit. Cyclists, are winning by minutes. And that's a huge amount. Minutes they can cover a mile. It ain't right. Stop saying it's right. That guy interviewed a lady who obviously you could tell probably never did sports in her life. And he asked her if, Holyfield decided he wanted to transition and go into female boxing, would that be okay? And she said yes. It's like, you're insane. It would kill him. A man who can hit that hard would kill him. All right? But here you got somebody that they're not going into the sport. They don't do sports. And they act like they can speak for the people who are in the sport. If you got a daughter or a granddaughter or a niece that's trying to do well in sports and maybe is going to get into the college level or higher, do you think it's fair to her that some guy decides, I'm Janalina and I want to go into it? I would break every powerlifting record out there. If I did it, is it fair? No, it's not. Testosterone isn't what it used to be, but it's still far greater than any woman my age. So I put out a video saying if you vote blue, then and if you're a parent or a grandparent, you don't care about your daughter. Because here's what happened, folks. As they were getting into the sports, they're getting into the beauty contest, Norwegian won. A guy, not a good-looking guy. All right, it's ridiculous. What we're allowing it to happen because we want to be politically correct. All right, politically correct is one of those oxymorons. Shouldn't do it. There are serious things. But and for them to not only allow them to compete in their sports and ruin their chances of getting scholarships and stuff like that, but to pressure them into letting them into their bathrooms. No, you're not. The video, the father was not letting the teacher who had prosthetics and thought he was going to walk in. He says, you're not walking in. And I'm 100% behind. You're not walking in there. There's something wrong with you if you want to do that. All right? Go to the men's bathroom because you're a man, or a single-use bathroom. So if I was in new schools, we would be built with locker rooms, but then there would be a one that you could lock. So they can go in there, have their privacy, can feel their comfort, but not sit there and impose on other people because they're saying, well, we need to have our rights. No, your rights don't trump mine. In no way, form, or manner do they overrule mine. Today, we're going to do bacon and hot dogs and peppers and cheese. There we go. Remember my buddy at Cutco.com, Lucky O'Day. And if you are in the Utica area and want great entertainment, food, drinks, and a fun gift shop, make sure you stop at the Trading Post in Utica, Illinois, also known as James Mix Trading Post. And it is a full place. They have dance floor inside and out. They have delicious food at reasonable prices. They have good drinks, good company. They have a gift shop there. All sorts of knickknacks, both ceramics and collectibles. And then there's your freedom seeds and your other items of interest, military memorabilia, biker material, pins, patches, flags, you name it, it's out there. I got the bacon going. As for the live streams and premieres and that, I might be changing some things up. I know John at Proper Nation will do a premiere quite often, and people are like, well, we'd rather have you live. But he said, well, the premieres do better. And so I did a couple premieres last week. And then I did lives, and I've been looking at the views, and I have to agree. I seem to get more views on the premieres than I get on the live streams. Now, it might be because I'm scheduling them a day out, so everybody's got plenty of time to catch the notification and also click on the notification bar. I think that may have something to do with it. But I do get more views. On the live streams, I'm averaging maybe 30 views, 35 if I'm lucky, and the premieres I'm averaging about 4 times as much. So what to do, you know? Difference between making a dime and making a quarter. Just basically about what it is. So, I like to do the meal ones. I hope you enjoy it. It does work out better when people get to chat and engage and ask questions. I try to get different types of subjects going to get people interest. Stop changing the time every 5 minutes. Yeah, that was the first time I really thought that it would have loaded up in an hour, and it took 4 hours to load up. So there was a slight miscalculation. So the second time I just set it for the next day, I didn't have to worry about it. All was good. So if you're just joining in, please hit the thumbs up. If the notification got blocked because YouTube thinks I'm doing something political, well, it is what it is. But the subject today is, will women's sports be corrupt? Or I should say more corrupt by 2025. The reason I picked 2025 is because there is an election coming up in 2024. And my thing is, you know, if you have a daughter or a granddaughter or a niece or a grandniece that does sports or does anything, and you vote blue, you just told them you don't care. Either you're just totally unaware, or you don't care, or both. So when I first heard that they had a bill to protect women's sports and that every Democrat voted against it, I'm figuring, well, okay, this might be fake news because they do fake news on both sides. So I Googled it, and I even put the picture out there on what I Googled out on my farms and trucking channel. And they did. All right, so they are willing to stick it to 50% of the population. We consider women and men are about 50-50. It might not be exactly that, but it's close enough. Over 1% of the population that's confused or just wants to have their way, throwing a fit, whatever you want to call it. And you vote for them, then I'm sorry. Don't complain. You got people now in Chicago and in Portland and Los Angeles and Oakland complaining about the crime. Well, you voted for the people that were anti-police. You voted for the people that just had that revolving door. So the criminals go in, they come right back out. You voted for them. All right. Now, why you voted for them, who knows? But here's the results of your votes. And if you don't correct it, the next voting system, they're not going to correct it. They stay in power. You know, they put out a little deflection. Oh, you know, racist. You know, ain't none of that's racist. People want to live safe. They want to have law enforcement protect them. And those are also the places that are most restrictive on guns. Because if they're not protecting you, then it's up to you. And you're still voting for them. I'm sorry, I got no. And I know people do that should know better, but it's almost like they don't want to. They live in this little bubble. They believe everything that's fed to them. And it's unfortunate because they are being fed a load. So I got the bacon getting cooked up there pretty well. What I'll do is I'll pull the bacon off. I also will pre-pull the hot dogs off too. I'm going to kind of give them a pre-cook in there. And then we will mix our egg batch up, which I will do now. For our almost omelet. So today, I have not only store-bought eggs, but I have fresh eggs. And there was much rejoicing. Yay! Cheese over there. I get the multicolored eggs. And then I get my old food bucket. Because all this stuff will go back in the garden. And what I do is I mix the down the road eggs with the old eggs. I do want to use them up. Remember, fresh, month old. Now the shells put calcium back into the garden. Which you won't. I used 8 eggs last time. I think I'll put 1 egg short. So I'm going to use an extra egg this time. It's a smaller one. Smaller ones got tougher shells. There we go. Yep, 1 extra egg. Should be just perfect. So then we put some pre-seasoning in there. Which is sea salt. The sea salt not only has the sodium, but it also has magnesium, manganese, iron, potassium, and calcium, which are things that you really do need. So I have to kind of draw some conclusions. And if you think I've drawn them wrong, please put that in comments or in chat. But the fact that I put out some test videos and I did the same video about 6 times, just at different times. But sometimes when you put a short out, certain times of the day get pushed heavier than others. So on my farming channel, I pushed the same video out at 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And at 9, I did it over my other channel, and I got very few views. And basically, the subject was: is women's sports still relevant? Why would they allow men in there? Why would you vote Democrat, knowing that they think this is okay? So I tried in here as my title, and so far I have rave. So I don't know if it gets suppressed or people just don't want it. They're afraid to talk about these things anymore. And if that's the case, that's even worse. At some point, you got to say no. At some point, you got to say, here's the line. Don't cross it anymore. Because if you don't, they will continue to cross it. It's just human nature. If you don't tell them no, you don't tell them to stop, they will keep going. Just like a kid. Adults ain't any different. All right, silence is saying you're okay with what's going on. All right, we had a rapper. He said something about this subject. And his agent put out an apology for him. And he got back on TikTok and goes, I ain't apologizing. I said, this is wrong. And then he goes, I'm not apologizing. You expect an apology, it ain't happening. So not that I'm a big fan of rappers, but I had to respect that. So he said, enough. How many people are not saying anything? Not saying they don't have a reason not to say anything, because they're afraid of the backlash they're going to get. You know, I mean, look what happened. You had a young man get involved on a subway train, and a guy who was threatening people, threatening him, threatening other people, and now they're trying to press charges against him. So it's almost like the Democrat Party wants you to be a victim. You know, I'm just making observations by what I see them doing by their actions. Not by what they say, but how they act, how they vote. You know, do they prosecute the criminal? Do they let them back out? In California, if you steal under $950, they don't press charges. Who came up with who was the brainchild on this one? I mean, seriously, who said, "Oh, this is a good idea"? Well, they're not taking a grand of stuff. You know, we won't waste our resources. Did that in New York? When they find out? About 60% of the shoplifting was being committed by like the same 37 people or 300 people, whatever. It was a low number compared to the rest. So what they had a huge amount of repeat offenders because you're letting them back out. I said, well, you know, I got caught this time. The other 3 times you didn't catch me. This is the 4th time you arrested me. This is the 4th time you let me out. So you told me it's okay. And how this is hard for a politician to understand, I don't believe it is. All right, I don't believe it's hard to understand. I believe this is what they want. It keeps you fearful There's people out there that are fearful to walk out of their place, fearful to go to the store. And then you have people that get on social media and just make stuff up. I mean, literally just lie. You know, the ladies up there, well, I got threatened and I'm afraid to walk out anymore. And somebody said, oh, who was it? And she comes back, well, it was a well-dressed white man. Yeah, we're going to say bullshit. I'm sorry. All right. We know who it was. You were afraid you were going to get labeled as something. They changed the narrative. And that's the problem. We change our narrative. We change who we are because we're afraid of what other people are going to say or think. And once you do that, you're no longer free. You know, they use a term quite often. First time I heard it, I thought it was ridiculous, but I realize it's ringing true. They've changed one plantation for another. All right, so let's get to. And remember, I do have some butter in there, just for flavor. So let me know in comments. You know, if I had upset anybody by this subject matter, let me know. But I truly felt it had to be said. And like I said, if you're a woman and you're in sports and you vote blue, I can't help you because you won't even help yourself. They are doing this to you. I thought it was so ridiculous that I had to Google it. I figured it had to be one of these, you know, just throw out some BS just to get people upset. Lo and behold, it was true. I'm like, okay, why would they do that? Why would you risk your political career over such a small minority? Not even minority, it's not even a rounding error. And the answer was because they can. Because they keep getting elected. People keep punching a blind ticket. I guarantee you, if you asked people what their senator or what their representatives' values were, they wouldn't know. They would just kind of look at you. But they'll vote for them. Mine are very simple. All right. I believe in the sanctity of life. I believe in the right to bear arms. And some things are just evil. You should call them out as such. And when you see stuff on the internet, you gotta research it. You know, one post on Twitter had people in Oakland are getting upset because they're wanting them to return to their jobs. You know, they're so used during this pandemic and just working from home. I'll be honest with you, there are advantages of working from home for both the person working and for the company. Working from home, you don't have to provide office space. You don't have to have all that run on those buildings. And then I seen them post the next day saying, you know, they want to start sending people back home to work at home. I'm like, are you kidding me? Make up your mind. Either you're wanting to send them home to work from home, or you're wanting them to come in the office. So I guess the truth is somewhere in between. Some jobs you have to be there to do. Like my job, I have to be there. I got to physically be there. It's not something I can do from home. But there are other jobs you can do from home. And there are other jobs that you can do better if you're there. Can you hold classes on a computer online? Yes. Are the young kids getting the same level of teaching? No, they're not. I got to watch that firsthand. And the private schools who came back to school sooner, within the next couple of years, that we've noticed a huge disparity. The ones that went back to school sooner are doing a much better job than the ones that stayed out for an extra year and a half. So, yeah, some things can be done at home. Some things are better. So I think the classroom, being actually in a classroom, is better. Doesn't mean there's not a need for it. There's a lot of colleges that do it online because there's people who live in their life, and that's a good thing. But when you're teaching young children, the classroom setting is better, my opinion, just from what I've seen, and I do have statistics that kind of back that up. But back to the subject at hand, thumbs up or thumbs down, however you feel about it. But I really feel that women's sports is getting corrupted by men. And women, some women are allowing it to happen because they're afraid they will be labeled. They'll be afraid. It is not fair that I go to a powerlifting meet and enter in as a different gender. There is no woman my age and weight in the world close to my strength. I'm ranked 4th in the world as a male. For me to go into a female competition is robbery. It's not an opinion, it's a fact. It's robbery. For a male who's a swimmer, decide, well, he is mediocre at best on the swimming team, and I'm sure he could beat me swimming because I'm not a swimmer, decides to compete as a female and all of a sudden is winning by a huge margin, it's wrong. And people that will sit there and support that, you're wrong. And if you're voting Democrat, you're supporting it. Not that the Republicans are saints. Not that it comes down in the end that you're all kind of working together. You all want to stay in power, but like I said, when it comes down to it, I vote for the person who's going to protect my beliefs, and I research them. And I don't rely on CNN. I don't rely on Fox. I don't rely on MSNBC. I don't rely on any of them for my information. I go and dig down deep. What have they done? Not what they've said. What have they done? What is their voting records? What bills did they vote for? What bills did they vote against? And why? Sometimes the bills they voted against is because other things that were ridiculous were added to it. You're never going to get the truth from the media. You're going to get propaganda from the media. You're never going to get the truth. The only way you're going to get the truth is you need to dig for it. You need to earn it. You need to work for it. Someone's not going to get on the news and just tell it to you because that doesn't sell commercials. They have to keep you angry. They have to keep you afraid. They have to shock you. Fox. News alerts, not alert. They've been talking about it all damn week. There's no alert. There's nothing new. We have heard it all week. Stop doing that because now it's lost its value. A news alert is when 9/11 just happened. That was a news alert. All right. A news alert is when Russia invaded Ukraine. That's a news alert. All right. News alert is when they finally realized that there was a pandemic heading this way. That's a news alert. All right. That President Trump is getting indicted again is not a news alert. All right. That's a weekly update. And that's what it should be. Weekly update. Or in some cases, daily update. Let's call them for what they are, y'all. So I got peppers, jalapenos, hot dogs, bacon, and cheese to go in my omelet. So what do I do to get the base formed really well is I put it on heat and then take it off the heat. I put it back on the heat and take it back off the heat. And that's so I can slowly build up a nice thick eggshell without burning the eggs. So my conclusion so far, until I hear different in either comments or chat, is either people are not interested in what's happening to the women's sports, A. B, YouTube is suppressing the notification somehow. C, both. Or I just had a really bad timing. That would be D. I should do that as a poll. Do you care about protecting women sports and events? Yes, no, add option. I only believe what CNN tells me. I only believe what Fox tells me. We'll see if that gets engaged at all. This says engage with your audience. This will help them talk to you more. That trick never works. So I'm still letting that get set up. What I'll do is add the cheese first, so it'll be right at the heat so it'll melt. Add the other items. Try to flip it over, probably very unsuccessfully because I put too much stuff in there. And then go from there. So if you are joining in, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. If you do have an opinion, put it in chat or put it in messages. Live streams go far better when there's engagement. And I think what I'll be doing later on is I'll start doing more premieres just because I can record it. I don't have all this filler time I have to have in there. And then I can load it up for the next day and everybody's got plenty of time to know what's coming out there. Because the advantage of a live stream, surprisingly enough, is interaction. All right, if there's no interaction, I don't need to have a live stream. Put that back on the heat. Back on the heat. Back on the heat. I knew I have another pepper for wife for her salad. I'm getting a lot of produce from the garden, more than I can really eat in a day, which is the way I want it. I dropped off some more jalapenos at work. I gave some to the neighbor. So we're sitting pretty good there. Green peppers I had to cut some and throw them away because they get too much of mold on them. Not mold or fungus or just discoloration. It's just a little bit I can cut around it and I don't worry about it. And then on those, they pretty much told me they're stopped growing anyway. So if I get them off the plant, then the plant gets up there and put more nutrients towards the other ones. And that's how you get larger fruit. Ooh, wait. Just waiting for it to get a little bit more solid. Always cook on low heat, which does make it go longer. But sometimes these are it makes it worthwhile waiting for. So, we got, looks like Ray helped me out with the poll. Thanks, Ray. And it'll be interesting if anything that changes by the time the live stream is over, or if I do pick up any comments later on. But I think this is something that needs to be talked about and needs to be spread, and I think that's why they're suppressing it. I put it up on my TikTok also. And they say something about, they can shadow ban you. I don't quite understand what that is, but I guess they just put you in a timeout, I'm guessing. The only time I seem to get any attention is if I actually spell the word. So if you spell the word stupid or dumb, it gives you a warning saying, do you really want to say that? But if you put a space in between the middle of the words, you bypass that. Well, that's what I do. I just put a space in between them. And he's taking his time. Time is on my side. So breakfast is eggs, bacon, hot dogs, green peppers, jalapeno peppers, and cheese. And then I might throw a little bit of steak sauce over the top, but really with all those flavors in there, most of the time I don't even have to bother. Well, another thing I want to do is I'm going to list out all my herbs and medicine, or not medicines, herbs, minerals, and vitamins that I tend to take. So we have the multivitamins. Got a his and hers. I think last time I bought this one on Amazon, but last time I looked, they were very, very expensive. We got milk thistle. I think it's the last time I bought probiotic gummies. Oh, there we go. They're probiotics. Probiotics are supposed to be good for blood pressure, calcium, for bones health. I don't think that one's open. Okay. Iron, I take once a week for blood health. NAC is also good for liver health and for blood pressure. B complex makes you feel happy. Vitamin K, immunity, cellular health, and heart health. Vitamin C, huge antioxidant. Turmeric and morgana. Morgana is also good for your blood pressure and diabetes. Zinc, immune. And more D3. Niacin which is B3, cholesterol. Vitamin E for skin health, also an antioxidant. And this can be applied directly to you. And then my balance of nature's fruits and veggies. And the latest one I've added is cayenne pepper. So this is supposed to be good for blood health. I also ordered some ginger and garlic. They'll be added to the mix. And also arginine. Not only is good for blood health and that, but is also good for blood pressure. So a whole army of minerals and vitamins. Now, sometimes I don't take them all every day. The K and the iron I take maybe once a week. Some other stuff you always got to make sure B vitamins and niacin you want to take with food. And you want to try to take them out throughout the day, not just, otherwise you're just going to overwhelm your system and your body's not. But remember, these are still, magnesium. These are still supplements. They're to add to your meal, they're not to replace. Okay, so add cheese. Now the jalapenos, I got to spread them by hand. Otherwise, my feeling is they'll dump right in the same area. And that'll make things interesting. Green pepper, just pour in there. Same thing with hot dogs. Pour it in there. And then just do bacon pieces. Spread them out. So plenty of protein, plenty of aminos, vitamins, all that good stuff for a healthy diet. And then there's a whole army of stuff I can take with it. So what I do is I kind of like prioritize which ones I want to take first. You taking any of your vitamins yet, hon?
No.
Okay. So I'm going to do is I'm going to put them on as I go. I'm going to do a B complex today. And the sun is not out. I'm going to do some D's. And I also take some D at work too later on during the day. I'm going to do one iron. There's like 60% of the people in the United States is deficient in iron. That's not a good word. Oak thistle for liver health. So today is hump day. Let me see about flipping this over. That trick never works. Look, Rocky. Look why I flipped the eggs over in the pan. Again. Nothing up my sleeve. And it worked out a little bit better. Remember, you still want to eat a healthy diet. This is no means I can eat poorly. This just means I'm making sure that I'm getting everything in my diet that I need to. So a lot of these don't provide 100%, nor should it. But you should be getting it from your food. As I take them, or as I put them out, and I put them away. Now the vitamin E, I'm going to set a couple out to the side. So if you have like a scab or an area you're trying to heal, having vitamin E will greatly assist. All right, so let's get the food up. Mm-mm-mm. There we go. They're ready to eat good in the neighborhood. You know what megadose is today? Only because I'm doing a lot of things that can help with blood sugar. I'm gonna have to go down and make sure I have some of these other things available. I was gonna be going, what is all this stuff? So Wednesday is Hit It Hard Wednesday. All right, we are ready to eat good in the neighborhood. As a lot as this looks, I know I have guys in the lifting business that take 2 to 3 times these amounts. So what we try to do is try and find things that are healthy for you. So this is breakfast looking good. So I'd like to thank a few of you that did stop by, hit the thumbs up. I'd like to thank YouTube for maybe proving my case. And remember, if you want to protect your daughter, granddaughter, or niece, or grandniece, you want to protect them in the locker room, you want to protect them in sports and pageants, any other event they might be in, stop voting blue. Just not smart.